You've trained your whole life. You've got powers most people only dream of. Super strength, speed, maybe even telekinesis. You fought monsters, mutants, and nightmares made of flesh. But none of that matters now. Because there's one creature out there that doesn't care how strong you are. It doesn't care how fast you run, how hard you punch, or how many times you've saved the world. All it takes is one look. This is SCP-096 The Shy Guy. A creature so horrifying, so unstoppable, that even the most powerful beings wouldn't stand a chance if they made one simple mistake seeing its face. And the worst part? You don't even have to be in the same room. A photo, a reflection, a blurry frame in a video, that's all it takes to seal your fate. If you think you could survive a fight against one of the most mind-breaking, rage-fuel, and relentless monsters in horror history, let us know how in the comment section below. But make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button, otherwise you might be stalked by the Shy Guy. But for now, let's talk about what happens when a human crosses paths with a creature that doesn't play by the same rules of strength or speed, but by the rules of eventuality. Let's talk about SCP-096. 096 is classified as Euclid, though many argue it should be Keter. It is a humanoid entity standing approximately 2.38 meters tall, 7 feet, 9.7 inches for you US weirdos like me who think we're so special we shouldn't follow the same measurements of the rest of the world. Get on our terms. It has elongated limbs, pale, almost translucent skin, and no visible hair or pigmentation. Its face is indescribable, not because it's hidden, but because you must never look at it. Even Foundation personnel are forbidden from viewing images of SCP-096's face, no matter how distorted or pixelated. Its body is emaciated, its arms unnaturally long, and its posture hunched, as if it's trying to hide from the world. But when it's triggered, it becomes something else entirely. It is normally docile in nature. It sits in the corner of its containment cell, weeping softly, covering its face with its hands, avoiding eye contact, and shows no sign of aggression until someone sees its face. Once triggered, SCP-96 enters a state of emotional and physical rage. It begins screaming, crying, and sprinting toward the viewer, no matter where they are in the entire world. It has been clocked at speeds exceeding 22 miles per hour, or 35 kilometers per hour for all you people who aren't as special as US people. But in reality, it moves faster than any human can react. It scales vertical structures, tears through reinforced steel like it's nothing, and survives extreme damage. It does not stop. It does not rest. It does not forgive. Once it's reached its target, it will kill them in a brutal, unrecognizable fashion. Then it returns to its passive, docile state, sitting once again, weeping, eyes covered. It's not just a monster, it's a force of nature, one that activates with a glance. 096 has been involved in many catastrophic incidents, each one more horrifying than the last. The Satellite breach incident. Earth's orbit. A Foundation satellite captured SCP-096's face during a routine atmospheric scan. The image was automatically transmitted to a technician aboard an orbital research capsule, a secure, isolated environment hundreds of kilometers above Earth. What happened next is still classified, but fragments of the footage were leaked during a containment audit. The footage begins with the technician reviewing data logs. He's calm, focused. Then the screen behind him flickers, just for a second. A distorted image, a face. He barely sees it for a fraction of a second. But for SCP-096, that is an eternity. Out of nowhere, no warning, no breach alarm. SCP-096 appears inside the capsule. There's no sign of entry, no hull breach, it's just there. The technician turns, His eyes widen. He doesn't even have time to scream. 096 tears through the capsule like it's made of paper. The technician is dismembered in seconds, his body unrecognizable. Then suddenly, it stops. It sits. It covers its face. It waits. It cries. Subject neutralized. Capsule recovery in progress is heard over the radio. To this day, no one knows how SCP-096 reached the capsule. There's no breaches at Site Redacted. The site is classified. No atmospheric entry detected. No damage to the capsule's exterior. It simply appeared as if the rules of space, time, and physics do not apply. And maybe they don't for this monster. The Desert Massacre, Sahara region, North Africa. A small documentary crew, 3 filmmakers, and a local guide were traveling through the edge of the Sahara Desert. Their goal? To capture the haunting beauty of the dunes, the silence of the sand, and the stories of nomadic tribes. They checked into a modest hotel on the outskirts of a desert town. A quiet, sun-bleached building with cracked tiles, humming ceiling fans, and a rooftop that overlooked the endless horizon, ran by an older man named Yusef. The crew left early in the morning, taking only their cameras, water, and a drone. When they returned that evening, while enjoying themselves at dinner with ale, Yusef heard them mention a strange sighting. They once again departed early the next morning, leaving some footage in their room. But they didn't return. 3 days passed. The hotel manager, Yusef, grew concerned. The room was untouched. Their beds still made. Their air conditioner still humming. On the 4th day, he entered their room. What he found was chilling. There was footage that begins with sweeping drone shots at the dunes. Then a figure appears in the distance, thin, pale, standing motionless in the heat shimmer. The camera zooms in, just for a second, a blurry face, then static. The next frames are corrupted, but the audio remains. Heavy breathing, something tearing, something wet. The Foundation recovered the footage, but didn't dare watch it. They only know about it from Yusef's account. SCP did the only action they could think of and quarantined the hotel. They sealed Yusef in a room. Despite this, Yusef was found dead the next day, ripped limb from limb, no sign of entry. The room was still sealed. SCP covered this up, declaring a restriction zone due to unexploded ordnance, but the footage still remains in SCP archives. A reminder that SCP-096 doesn't care where you are, a mountain, a capsule, or the middle of nowhere. If you see its face, it will find you. It will kill you. The Mirror Room Test. Site 13, Sublevel D. In an effort to better understand SCP-096's visual trigger mechanism, the Foundation authorized a control experiment deep within Site 13. In a sublevel known only to Level 4 personnel, the room was custom built, a 10 by 10 meter chamber, lined wall to wall with one-way mirrors. Behind each mirror was a reinforced observation booth equipped with high-speed cameras, biometric sensors, and emergency lockdown systems. At the center of the room stood a single chair, a D-class subject, D-9341, who was instructed to sit and observe a distorted, heavily pixelated image of SCP-096's face. The image was projected onto a mirrored panel designed to reflect and refract the image in unpredictable ways. For the first 90 seconds, nothing happened. The subject reported mild discomfort. Then, at 2 minutes and 12 seconds exactly, his heart rate spiked. He began to sweat. He whispered, "I think it's looking at me." At 2 minutes and 47 seconds, the subject froze as if paralyzed by sheer terror. The room fell silent. At exactly 3 minutes and 4 seconds, 096 breached containment. It tore through 3 containment doors, bypassed 2 security checkpoints, and reached the mirror room in under 90 seconds. The mirrors shattered on impact, not from physical force, but from sheer shockwave of its entry. The subject was ripped limb from limb. A total of 17 pieces were counted. The mirrors were fused with organic tissue. The observation booths were untouched, but every researcher inside had suffered temporary blindness and auditory hallucinations. The room was sealed. The experiment never repeated. And the image, it was deleted. But some say it still exists, buried deep in the Foundation's black archives, labeled only as "Do Not View." The scientists that survived seeing SCP-096's face, site redacted. SCP-096 is contained in a pressure-sealed, lightless steel cube, monitored only by audio sensors. No cameras, no mirrors, no windows. Personnel are forbidden from viewing any images of SCP-096's face. All photographs are immediately redacted or destroyed. There's a story buried deep in the Foundation's restricted archives, one that's been redacted, reclassified, and nearly erased, but it still circulates among senior researchers. A tale of a man who actually saw SCP-096's face and lived. Dr. Elis Kettering was a Level 3 cognitive hazard specialist stationed at Site Redacted. He had spent months studying SCP-096's behavioral patterns, working with filtered imagery, distortion algorithms, and indirect observation techniques. But during a late-night calibration test, something went wrong. A corrupted file bypassed the visual scrambler. For less than a second, the full face of SCP-096 flashed across Dr. Kettering's monitor. He froze. His breath caught. Somewhere deep within the facility, alarms began to sound. The doctor knew what was coming. He had read the reports. He had seen the aftermath. And he knew he was only minutes, maybe seconds, before SCP-096 arrived. So he did the unthinkable. Using a scalpel from the emergency trauma kit, Dr. Kettering removed his own eyes. No anesthesia, no hesitation, just raw desperation in action. Security teams found him, unconscious, barely alive, slumped against the wall. His face soaked in blood, hands trembling. It turns out SCP-096 entered the lab. It stood over Kettering's body, breathing heavily, twitching. Then, for reasons no one understands, it sat down, covered its face, and began to weep. It didn't attack. It didn't scream. It simply stopped. Dr. Kettering survived. He was transferred to a secure psychiatric wing where he remains to this day, blind, broken, but alive. Some believe SCP-096 recognized that the viewer was no longer capable of seeing. Others think the act of self-mutilation disrupted the memetic trigger, but no one knows for sure, and no one has dared to test it again. Some Foundation personnel have requested amnestics, a SCP drug to forget terrifying memories. Not to forget the horror, but to forget the inevitability. Some believe SCP-096 is not a creature, but a living curse. A memetic anomaly that punishes observation. Others think it is a failed experiment, a weapon designed to eliminate targets with surgical precision. There are even rumors that SCP-096 is not alone, that there are others like it, hidden deep in the Foundation's archives. Creatures that don't just kill, they erase.